Welcome to Auntie's Parenting Tidbits, life hacks and resources for the perfectly imperfect parent. Today we're going to discuss imaginative play or pretend play and why it is so important for you not to just play with your child that way, but to encourage your child to play that way. Uh, Pretend play can be your kids playing with their toys, talking to them, having them talk to each other. It can be them playing with themselves in the mirror. It can be them bringing you a cup that's empty and having you drink pretend tea. It can be them giving you pretend food to eat, the plastic food, and you pretending to eat it. This is all imaginative play. And it can also be their imaginary friend. It can be them talking on their pretend phone. It can be them using different objects as a phone, like a hairbrush or a remote control. It can be them typing on a book and pretending it's a computer. This is all imaginative play. This is all important play. And I'll explain in a minute why it's important play. And it is important that we not just encourage it, that we engage in it with our kids so that they can continue it. Not that we discourage most of it, but we do tend to discourage the imaginary friend play, and we should not be discouraging that. Pretend play usually starts somewhere around 1.5 to 2. It can go all the way up to 7 or 8, sometimes longer than that. That's perfectly fine. Imaginary play will taper off on its own. It's not something you need to cut out of any child's life. They will cut it out on their own. Imaginary play is really important for cognitive development. It increases language skills and language usage. Um, they speak more words when they are playing imaginative play. They are using sentence structures. They're using past tense, present tense, future tense, adjectives, verbs, subjectives, nouns, pronouns sometimes, um, word theories. They're showing awareness of their own thoughts, awareness of others' thoughts. They're sometimes having conversations because they're having their characters, toys, Barbie dolls, talk to each other, or they're talking to their imaginary friend and having conversations that they don't have with adults or they're not able to have with adults. That's why I said it's that imaginary friend that you're not fond of them having and you would really like to go away. It's important for them to have that. And there are very few adults that still have, I won't say there are none, but there are very few adults that still have their imaginary friend walking around with them. So that imaginary friend will go away on its own. Don't rush it. It's important. It's helping that child with some cognitive things that they need, such as conversation skills, language skills. Um, Imaginative play teaches children perspectives. It can teach them positive language as well as negative language. It can teach them emotions, not just their emotions, other people's emotions. Because, like when they're playing telephone, they may mimic a angry telephone call. So they're not just learning what their emotions are; they're learning other people's emotions because they're not angry that they're mimicking an angry telephone call that they may have heard. Maybe mommy had an angry telephone call, and now they're mimicking mommy's angry telephone call. They're mimicking anger. They're not angry, but so they're mimicking someone else's emotion. So they are learning their inside emotions, they're learning other people's emotions. They learn symbolism, they are learning organization, they learn fantasy because part of imaginative play is also storytelling. When they come to you and they tell a fantastic story that you know never happened, but they're telling you this fantastic story. And you're sitting there listening, like, where do you come up with this stuff? As part of imaginative play. So they're learning fantasy as part of imaginative play. They are learning how to play make believe and use symbolism to play make believe. Where I know that this vegetable, this plastic vegetable, is not real, but I know you're supposed to cook it. So I'm going to use this as my symbol for actual food. I'm going to cook it. I'm going to serve it as though it's real. They can learn um, how, excuse me, they can learn different ideas from people doing pretend play if they're pretend playing with others, which would be more of a classroom setting, usually in the play areas, like the kitchen area, or if they have a house area. So pretend play is really, really important, and it's really important that you engage in it with them. You want to play telephone with them. Go bring, ring, hello, is like my son is Demetrius. Like bring is Demetrius there, and let him have a conversation with you, or let your kids have those conversations. Sit on the floor and you guys play men or play Barbies, and let them have that conversation with you through the dolls. You'll be amazed at the words that they're able to give you through the dolls that they don't give you when you're having just normal conversation. And you'll sit there and you'll be like, where did that language come from? Because that's not what we usually say. Or they'll give you scenarios that you didn't even realize they were watching you and other adults have, that they're now playing out through their dolls because they're watching and they're learning from you and playing it out through their imaginative play. So, imaginative play is really important. It's really important that you sit and engage with them in their imaginative play, not to just let them do it on their own. They're going to do it on their own, but it's important that you sit there and do it with them sometimes, and that you encourage it, and especially with the imaginary friends, that we don't poo poo the imaginary friends. We don't tell them, you know, your friend doesn't exist. You know, he's imaginary. You know, we can't see him. You have to pretend like you can see them. You have to have the conversations with them. When they ask you, can my friend have a drink? Give them the drink, because that friend is actually helping them have conversations, helping them learn how to have conversations, helping them with their cognitive skills. So, embrace the imaginary friend, embrace the imaginative play. I am done with my soapbox for the day. So, please subscribe to my channel. Please subscribe or go to my website. It will be in the description. I will also put a link to a really good article about imaginative play and how it helps with cognitive development. It's a very short article. I think you'll enjoy. Um, and we'll be seeing you. Bye.